guys, welcome to another video. And the big news today, I haven't it's been so much. Like always, I seem to always like explain this, like catch up everybody after the fact of everything that's been going on. So the Camaro is sold. That's a whole story upon itself. Like I probably could have made like 100 videos up to like all the stuff that's been happening up to this point. But so the Camaro is sold. I kind of left it on like a cliffhanger of what that noise was, like that I ran something over. It ended up just being I ran something over. There was no damage or anything wrong with the car or anything like that. So that was good news. This thing's like a little tripod's making some noise here. All right, maybe I'll hold it that way. So basically, the reason I sold it was I was done. Like it was either keep dumping money into the car, but I was kind of happy where the car was. I built like something ridiculous. There wasn't really anything wrong with it. It was time to go. And the reason was like, I guess like I was gonna have to put in a lot more money into the car to make it reliable as far as like the transmission, torque converter, axles, differential or the drive shaft, and stuff like that. Probably even the rear diff, I imagine at some point would have to be reinforced because things got out of hand. Like that thing was putting down like close to 700 to the wheels, or around 700 to the wheels, depending on the dyno and the E85 and stuff like that, which is like that's a lot for that car. And those stock pieces were gonna come into play, so I was either gonna have to upgrade those, which I'm looking at like, I don't know, I was pricing those things out and I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm gonna end up having to spend like another like 15,000. Whereas like you're like, yeah, well, you spent more than that in the car already with like I put like before I sold it, it was like a good 40,000 that I put into the car. I bought the car for 37 and I put about 40,000 into it. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. But if you think about it, say in total that's 77,000. So that's like you could have got a ZL1, right? But my car was faster than a ZL1 by like a good amount. Like a ZL1, you'd have to do some work to it to get it to as fast as my SS was. But it's gone. So moving on. I know. If you have some questions, put them down in the comments. There's like a lot to it. I wanted to talk about like the goals of the build and like how basically I don't miss the car. I felt like I did almost everything I wanted to, and I just like was ready to move on. And there was some deals on trucks, and if you've been following along, I used to own a couple of trucks, and I did like small videos like exhaust and like installing some parts as far as like the stereo and stuff like that. But it was time. So check it out. This is the truck that I got. It was it is a 2020 RST Silverado, and I got the Duramax. So it's a little different. I never owned a diesel, and it's also one of those things where it's a little dicey because it's a new motor, okay? And the first year of a motor coming out, there's usually some issues, okay? And mine, I got a story for you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys in the next video what was going on. But right away with the truck, I got the windows tinted. This is like a little before and after. I took some pictures, check it out. I made it over to Precision Window Tint here in Henderson. This is the before. Got that nice fishbowl action going. So I'm gonna get Llumar ceramic tint all the way around. You'll see the after. Oh, I left them the key. And I also got wheels. So I got 35-inch tires. They're, I think, Gladiator X Comps, and they're 35 by 12 and a halves, and they're 22s. So my rims are 22 by 10s, and I think it's like a -19 offset. I really like the way it came out. The spacing, the back spacing is really tight though. So I don't have a spacer on it, and you could basically put like a credit card. That's about it between the brake caliper and the wheel, the back of the wheel. So it's pretty tight fitment. It doesn't rub. At like full turn all the way, it rubs a little bit. We did a shout out to my boy Chris and Alex. We hammered it out on a weekend, and we did the rough country 6-inch lift. Oh man! So we were doing the lift, right? And we do the front, and we put the stock wheels back on because my wheels haven't come in. Like they weren't in at the time. They were supposed to be, but FedEx, and they're blaming coronavirus and whatever. They took like an extra week to deliver the wheels, and I was like, man, what the heck? So I was gonna put the stock wheels back on and just ride it like that until my wheels came in. So we throw the stock wheels on, and we were just gonna turn the truck around, right? And it wouldn't go. It wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And it was like time to wrap it up. It was like midnight, okay? And we're like, put the wheels on, not moving. Like, oh no, like are the brakes locked up? Like, what's going on? Eventually we get to figure out that the tie rods came out further, and it was against the wheel, the stock wheel. And like the kit, I forgot, like it was late and we were working on the truck all day and stuff, and I forgot that the kit says you can't use the stock wheels basically unless you use a spacer. And I think it's like a minimum of a 20-inch wheel, which my stocks ones were 20, but I needed to get a wheel spacer just so I can move the truck. It was like, oh my god. So we did some finagling and ended up just like leaving. I forget what he did. I think they disconnected the tie rod or something like that, so it was like really shaky so that it wasn't rubbing against it. And I think we pushed it. Yeah, I think we pushed it. Pushed the truck in and just called it. And then I got some spacers. They were 1.5 inches. So if you do a 6-inch rough country lift on a 2019 or newer Silverado, you're gonna need spacers if you're running stock wheels. The 1.5-inch spacer, it worked out well. It cleared everything like that. So at least an 1.5-inch spacer, I would recommend. And also with the 1.5-inch spacer, I didn't have to trim the lugs or whatever, the studs for the lugs. Didn't have to trim those. So like if you go a lot of times with like a smaller like spacer, like 1.25 inches or something like that, like a lot of times the studs, which are like, oh, these have a cover, but the studs kind of poke out where you put the lugs on or whatever. And what happens is like they'll poke out more and you have to trim them. So, and a lot of people don't want to do that just for a small spacer. So installed the lift. I also got some rough country side steps, and here's a little walk around of what the truck looks like now. I dig it. I did like a little correcting on the paint. I like buffed it out and stuff like that, and I haven't put a good ceramic coating on it, which I'm gonna do soon, but I wanted to get the paint. It was really in rough shape, like there were swirls and stuff like that, and just straight from the factory it was like that. So next video I'm going to talk about some of the issues I ran into, and I'm talking about like not even 100 miles in, and I was running into some issues. So I'm going to talk about it in the next video. And I know it's a bummer I got rid of the Camaro, but had to move on. Have a good one, guys.